Test.
Where's Matty?
Marge, this ticket doesn't just give me a seat. It also gives me the right, no, the duty to make a complete ass of myself.
But as for me,
I'm off to battle aliens on a faraway planet.
Hello, operator. Give me the number for 911.
Who sent you here? Can't talk, little man? Bet can't play none either.
I could pull a better cartoon out of my ass. Hey, whoa! Wasn't that great, kid?
Oh, bitch.
Kill my boss. Do I dare live out the American dream?
Overload. Pleasure overload.
Uh-oh. 2 independent thought alarms in one day.
Good morning, Wood Ticks and Patriots. It's time for the Just Jim Show. From Lake Wisheyebegone, deep in the bunker thereof. Apparently, I have some audio problems. Today, like every day else, seems like every show I have something kicking up. Long story short, I believe we're going out the door. If not, well, it'll be a long day. Anyway, we're talking about a whole bunch of stuff today, as always. And I guess I have to lead off with the, there's no, I don't know if there's any music there or not. Anyway, good old Sniffin' Joe. He has to hit the airwaves, of course, after the Texas school shooting. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that, but I'm going to take some comments from that speech to America and try to relay some information that relates to a couple of other stories. And with that, we're going to go over to, well, that's kind of the oxymoron part of this whole show. We're going to talk about Nancy Pelosi a little bit today and her spat with bishops and archbishops, whatever. I think I talked about this last show, too. The Biden administration sneaks unlawful immigration benefits into the Ukraine aid package that just got passed. And, take away Trump's big defeat, election and the ramifications of political deities. And, of course, the Wuhan lab in China is back at it again. You may not know this or be able to put the pieces together, but I'm going to help you do that. There's a unanimous victory in the Wisconsin Supreme Court for all of you Second Amendment lovers. We'll talk about that, too. We'll be back in just a second. Okay, welcome back. Again, I'm not sure if there's audio streaming out in the music files or not. Anyway, I got a picture here that you may or may not know or remember, as a matter of fact, that Sniffin' Joe is our second Catholic president. Y'all might remember the first one. And this is part of the politics and religion little segment that we're talking about. He comes out and he talks about we'll get rid of that picture, and we'll remind you that Sniffin' Joe wanders the world, rubs shoulders with this guy right over here, the Pope. And a lot of you Catholics aren't going to like me for this one. But guess what? As a baptized Catholic, I have to say that I have never heard of a pope that doesn't stay being a pope until he dies. And this guy right here, the Franciscan Pope, if you know anything about the Knights Templar and the Franciscans, you'll know what I'm talking about, won't you? But anyway, he's our second Catholic Pope. And, of course, he comes out and I'll just read from the AP wires. Lamenting a uniquely American tragedy, an anguished and angry President Sniffin' Joe Biden, that's my line, Sniffin' Joe, delivered an urgent call for new restrictions on firearms after a gunman shot and killed at least 19 children at a Texas elementary school. Apparently, it was 2 more have died, I think. I spoke Tuesday night from the White House barely an hour after returning from a 5-day trip to Asia that was bracketed by mass shootings in the U.S. He pleaded for action to address gun violence after years of failure and bitterly blamed firearm manufacturers and their supporters. Oh, you deplorables. Among other things, we belong to that group, I think, we've been bracketed in. And firearm manufacturers and supporters for blocking legislation in Washington, as in the oligarchies. Quote unquote, when in God's name are we going to stand up to the gun lobby? It has nothing to do with the gun lobby, Sniffin' Joe. Not a damn thing. I'm going to tell you, it has to do with this little document right here. If you haven't read it, which obviously he hasn't, and if you don't believe it, which obviously he does not, doesn't believe the Constitution. He thinks that it's open for interpretation, as does the entire libtard organization. With First Lady Jill Biden standing by his side in the Roosevelt Room, the president, who has suffered the loss of 2 of his own children, parentheses in the article, though not to gun violence, he's probably going to lose one to drug interactions. That's me giving you that tip. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Spoken in visceral terms about the grief of loved ones of the victims and the pain that will endure for the students who survived. He called on the nation to hold the victims and families in prayer, but also work harder to prevent the next tragedy. It's time we turn this pain into action, he says. Buyer beware. You voted for the nut. You got him. You voted for her, the other nut. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. I have to. So this article goes on and on and on about everything. We have the courage to take action. Michelle and I grieve. This is Obama talking. Echoing Biden's call, former President B.O., who has recalled the day of Sandy Hook shooting, the darkest day of his administration. It's long past time for any kind of action. Michelle and I grieve with the families. Congress has been unable to pass substantial gun violence legislation. Wait a minute. I got to put you on pause here. And I don't have... that audio works over here, but it's not working on my computer. Whatever. So we'll work with the pad. Gun violence legislation. I know I'm preaching to the choir. Can I get an amen? That gun violence has nothing to do with the manufacturers of firearms or ammunition. It has to do with what sits upstairs in an individual's mind or what doesn't sit up there. Because obviously there's no social acceptance of morality of your actions. I don't, and he goes out and spews this crap to the public. And there's this whole contingency that just bows down to Sniffin' Joe and Pelosi and Psaki and the blah, blah that comes out of their mouths. It has to do with having laws sitting on the books and having the backbone to prosecute, convict, and jail the village idiots that run around with nothing in their head. That's all it's about, Joe. Obviously, you've been elected president and you don't know squat. Sniffing. Oh, that was Senator Chris Murphy, Democrat. Oh, Democrat out of Connecticut, who represented Newton, Connecticut in the House at the time of Sandy Hook, asked his colleagues why they even bother running for office if they're going to stand by and do nothing. I'm here on this floor, quote unquote, to literally get down on my hands and knees to beg my colleagues, he said. Murphy said he's planning to reach out to Texas Republican Senator John Cornyn after the two had teamed an earlier background check bill that will never become law. He said he would also reach out to other Texas Republicans like Ted Cruz. I don't understand why people here think we're powerless. Well, because, once again, I'm going to refer you to this little book. It was written a long time ago. Perhaps you need to reread it and go back to school and have a class on the Constitution. And it has nothing to do with deer hunting, the gun lobby, or anything else. It has to do with a bunch of bozos that cannot run this country under their job description. And I'm telling you, you think I'm off my rocker? No, I'm not. You have a job description. You and I go to work, we get paid to do a job. And that job has a job description. And if you violate it, you get written up, and eventually you get fired if you just don't do your job. And I don't get why elected officials they're not any different. I don't get why the rest of the country, 51%, which is really only 1/8 of the percent of the total population of this country. You only got 12% of people going out to vote. Half of that, 51 or 50.5%, vote these idiots into office. They don't hold them accountable. And our judges, who's got the spine? Who's got the spine? Who's to let the dogs out and put all of these violators in prison? Take away their pension after sitting in office for 20 years, not doing their job. Why the hell are we paying them? Why do they think they can go home and collect a pension for not doing your job? Can you? Can I? No, I don't think we can. First thing they do is take away our tenure. You lose if you ain't been there long enough, you lose your pension, your contribution to your 501 or your retirement account. And this story right here, coming off the AP, is as asinine as the boys that they write about. Because here, old Sniffin' Joe, you just saw the picture. Excuse me. You just saw the picture. What's that she's got in her hand? The Holy Bible. I don't know what's on. There's nothing on top. It's just an old Bible. Where's the Constitution? He swore, took an oath to uphold the Constitution. He's got to take all these diversionary tactics on an incident that is abhorrent as anything I can think of. But then he, at the same time, next story. And do I have this picture? Hang on. I don't think I do. Sorry. Gonna have to hold it up. Picture of Sniffin' Joe outside with his mask on, heading to the church. He's a Catholic, remember now. Sorry, you're going to not like what I'm saying. Second Catholic president in our nation's history. Good, bad, or indifferent. Second one. And he uses that moral concept to hobnob with the Pope, archbishops, bishops. As he goes back to D.C. and says, oops, sorry, I had the wrong picture up there. There. Hobnobbing with the Pope. Excuse me, not COVID. And comes back. Oh, no. Bad news bears. There we go. Sorry. Getting all excited. Hobnobbing with the liberal left as he goes to church, swears that he's a enduring Catholic, and then he uses the rationale like all liberals do. They'll go up in the air and they grab something and they say they'll take an instance, another sinner. Our president pointed out that even a Catholic saint like Aquinas had once argued that life began when a pregnant woman could feel the child move. And we're going to talk about Roe versus Wade. So as he's over here screaming for morality in the gun violent world, refuses to appoint Supreme Court judges or federal judges that support the Constitution, who would also having talks with governors to appoint circuit judges that drop the hammer on those who violate the law. Oh, that's just I hear the libtards all the time. Well, that's just a suggestion. There's got to be individualism. And I agree, in the justice system there does, because there's circumstances, extenuating circumstances, and then there's just plain old village idiots. They go out and do what they want to do and damn the torpedoes. Up, another quarter. And and then they grabbed this St. Thomas Aquinas from the Bible and the religious theistic teachings. Here he's talking about Roe v. Wade, excuse me, says that all basic mainstream religions have historically concluded. That's his quote. Biden told reporters that the existence of a human life and being is in question. The idea that the Supreme Court would limit the ability of people to make that judgment when religious thinkers have been disagreeing about it for a millennium goes way overboard, he said. He's talking about this leaked Supreme Court decision on R. V. Wade. And yet another diversion going on. Somebody leaked that document. The Supreme Court right now is out smelling everybody's underwear to see who did what. Obviously, they as a collective and their legal aides, their people that work for them, excuse me, don't have a clue what goes on inside their own barnyard because it got leaked. This is just a fact. It's not an editorial. It's a fact. You don't know what's going on when stuff happens, and you can't point immediately to the party that's at fault. Excuse me, I got my frogs again this morning. fire them and take away their pension. Put them back to ground zero. There has to be ramifications for people who violate their job code. The job code of secrecy is paramount at the Supreme Court level. It's up to them to release what they want to release when they want to release it. So somebody decided to violate their oath, and violate their job duty, and leak, quote unquote, and publish. They gave it to somebody. Just like everybody knows your Social Security number, because the Social Security Department let it out of their offices. I just don't get why Americans don't understand the continuity of what a person says they believe. I mean, election campaigns. Let's go there. Everybody talks about blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You already know he or she cannot do it as a singular entity. All they can do is put forth their thoughts and try to persuade their neighbors. And it shouldn't be across the aisle. It should be a body united, Congress and Senate, the betterment of America, not the betterment of your political party or your pocketbook. The PNP, political party, the PPP, political party and your pocketbook. So the Pope, so he goes over to Europe or to Rome, and hobnobs with this guy. Oh, look at this! I'm standing next to the Pope. Oh boy! And that slime ball, and the Franciscans, and how he got. How does a Pope retire? Doesn't happen. Oh, it's a new world order. Oh, remember that? It's a new world order. Everybody can do anything they want to do, regardless. Just had I don't know if I still got the video here or not, where a young lady told the story of her losing her virginity on the office floor of her pastor. Her father, was it? Or her pastor? I don't remember. We'll get to that later, too, maybe. Holier than thou. We can do whatever we want. And the story here goes on to say this is sure to exacerbate already simmering tensions within the Catholic Church over how to respond to having the president with such views being a member of their flock, which we're about to talk about Pelosi. So if Biden holds the views of not feeling that he doesn't have to abide by the Constitution, blames inanimate objects for the violence that goes on, and feels he has the right to go get his sacraments, obviously the good Lord will judge on Judgment Day. But there's got to be a little moral guidance and prudence right here on earth today. For those who have defended him, a few bishops in this country, a few cardinals in Rome, and Pope Francis, it will become more difficult to do it in public, obviously because of his abortion views. And here, somebody's got some spine. Pelosi responds, well, she blah blahs, to an archbishop denying her communion over an abortion stance. Not two peas in a pod right here. The president and the Speaker of the House both cannot come to terms with RVUW. And, I tell you, and I'm using this book a lot today here. I've read this thing more often than not. You want to know something? Somewhere in here, I have yet to find the constitutional right to abort. And these yutzes out in California are talking, anywhere up to a year after birth, after coming through the birthing canal. Does that mean that mom has the right to snip anytime? I'm 50, I'm almost 70 years old. Running on 69, running on 70. Does that mean that mom could come and shoot me in the head because I got a stance I think not like her? I'm thinking, what we call that murder. And yet we'll back up to at the time of birth or the in the incubator. I just snip. Where in God's green earth does this flux come in with this mentality? Well, obviously there's no mentality. But now from coming out of CBS Newsline, Pelosi says, I wonder about death penalty, which I'm opposed to. There was an announcement of a Catholic Archbishop of San Francisco, her district. Isn't that a wonderful city? She does so much for it. I agree. Yeah, she's good. Where's the applause? There we go. She does so much. She does so much. Yeah. Oh, drop that down a little bit. Anyway, yeah, she does so much for San Francisco. It's a wonderful place to pitch your tent. She responded Tuesday to an announcement, that's yesterday, to an announcement by Catholic Archbishop of San Francisco that she can no longer receive communion because of her stance on abortion access. Does that say backbone? Does that say believer? She's noted the Catholic Church has not denied communion to lawmakers who back the death penalty. Well, because Johnny jumped off the bridge and got away with it, I want to jump off the bridge too. How asinine. Quote unquote, I wonder about death penalty, which I'm opposed to, Pelosi said in an interview with MSNBC, like Whoopi Ding Dong. So is the church, but they take no action against people who may not share their view. I'm telling you, Biden's walking into the church with the same belief structure as Pelosi. And finally, somebody in San Francisco's got the balls to say, sorry, you can't have sacraments anymore. Because you think entirely opposite from our teachings and our belief structure. But once again, it's the old, well, they're just suggestions. I don't have to believe all of your suggestions, right? It's a freedom of choice to believe or not to believe. We have to be respectful. I come from a large pro-life Italian-American Catholic family, so I respect people's views about that. She does. Do her actions back up this blah blah? Tell me the last time that she did something that follows what she says she believes in. Now our Archbishop has been vehemently against LGBTQ rights, too. In fact, he led the way in some of the initiatives on an initiative on the ballot in California. So this decision, taking us to privacy and precedent, is very dangerous in the lives of so many American people. There you go. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. America, be warned. We have danger. Pelosi's interview with Morning Joe Tuesday followed Archbishop Salvador Cardeleon's public letter informing Pelosi, who is from San Francisco, that she no longer receives sacraments of communion because she has not backed down from her push for abortion access. He wrote that his many requests to speak with Pelosi have not been accommodated since she vowed to keep fighting to enshrine Roe v. Wade in law. There you go. Actions speak louder than words. In private, she'll tell the Archbishop, no, my heritage says I believe in this stuff. Oh, guess what? Not. Oh, Lordy. The Archbishop said he had told Pelosi on April 7th that if she did not publicly repudiate her advocacy for abortion rights or refrain from referring to her faith in public, which Joe Biden does endlessly, Where are the archbishops over in D.C.? I got to ask. And I point that way because actually that is. D.C.'s that way. Why is it that one man, one human, who's in a position of power has the cojones to tell the Speaker of the House, sorry, you can't have the sacraments because you don't believe. Your actions tell me you don't believe. Does she go to privacy? Your right to privacy is paramount here, supersedes my conversation. Does she go to confession and confess to a sin dictated by her religion? I don't know. He would have no choice but to deny her communion. The story goes on to say, as you have not publicly repudiated your position on abortion and continue to refer to your Catholic faith in justifying your position and to receive Holy Communion, the time has now come, the Archbishop wrote. Therefore, in light of my responsibility as the Archbishop of San Francisco, isn't that wonderful? You hear somebody say, as in light of my responsibility. When's the last time you heard a politician use that phrase? In light of my responsibility. To be concerned for all Christian faithful entrusted to my care by means of this communication, I am hereby notifying you are not present, not to present yourself for Holy Communion, and should you do so, you are not to be not to be admitted to Holy Communion until such time as you publicly repudiate your advocacy for the legitimacy of abortion and confess and receive absolution of this grave sin in the sacrament of penance. Hello? There goes the pension. Right there. That's called being fired in your endeavors and losing your pension. There is no constitutional right to abortion. Supreme Court said so in its last leaked decision. And I would have to confer. You're welcome. You sent here. Do me a favor. If you don't know what's going on, you're not sure what I'm saying, give me an email. I'll even mail you one of these little puppies. You can read it for yourself. But I know it's just a suggestion. Not. Yeah. Half an hour I talked on Village Idiots. I'm telling you, it's getting better and better. I'll be back in a few seconds after this. Yeah, welcome back. Excuse me. Boy, I keep coughing. It's not COVID. I got this morning frog thing keeps coming around. Not to belabor my conversation, but I'm going to belabor it because it's my conversation. Joe Biden, the Biden administration seeks, coming off the AP, seeks unlawful immigration benefits sneaks into the Ukraine aid request. And you wonder why some Republicans, and I'm at the stage of the game where I've said it before and I'm going to say it again now. It seems like there's only one party, and it's called a political party. Those that think they need to have a job for the rest of their life, and damn the country. And it starts at the local level, in the school systems. And parents, I get it, with inflation and the price of things going up and up and up, you're going to take 2 jobs, maybe 3 jobs between the two of you. If you have a man and a woman, sorry, the right pronoun's not being used, but that's the way it is. You got nothing but the true here. You're going to work 2-3 jobs between the two of you just to make ends meet. So grandparents, great-grandparents, get up off your couch potato retired asses and start helping out at the school board levels. School boards, county boards, city, township meetings. Everything is governed by the Constitution and Robert's Rule of Order, 2nd edition. Go find out what your articles of incorporation are within your local township. I'm going to tell you, you're going to find it. It'll be Robert's Rule of Order, 2nd edition. That's what they're bound by. When you look at an agenda, that's why the agenda is the way it is. And if they circumvent public access or comments, or like my local community here, they want you, in order to speak at a meeting, you know what you have to do? You got to write to the mayor. You got to put it in writing to the mayor or the city administrator before they let you talk. Who the F do they think they are? And you think you could find a judge who was bellywhack 'em? I don't think so. It's we the people. It's about time we the people start taking back our country. Damn the political correctness. Damn the gender identity. I'm coming out. So here, in the scheme of adding 4, God, the zeros just keep getting more easy to say. And it's bad that way. It's really bad. In the Ukraine package, quote unquote, we've given more money to Ukraine in the last XYZ months than the entire Russian military budget. And the people, even myself, I said $5 by Memorial Day. Well, pretty close. $6.50 by Labor Day. And the reports through the Department of Transportation or whatever it was said that as many people will travel this year for Memorial Day weekend. And we'll talk about Memorial Day before the end of the show. Joe Biden recently sent an emergency supplement funding request to Congress for $33 billion in aid to Ukraine. However, the administration used the opportunity to sneak in unlawful immigration benefits for hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian, Afghan, and Russian immigrants paid for by the American people at the expense of lawful applicants who have been waiting years to properly immigrate to the United States of America. It's not the United States of Biden or the Democrats. The emergency request includes $1.2 billion for the Department of Health and Human Services, with a nod to the Department of Homeland Security's Uniting for Ukraine program. They got all these little anecdotes that sound so good, don't they? The portion of the funding request includes robust increased blanket immigration provisions for Ukrainians, Afghans, and Russians in the science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM fields. That's a good Catholic, isn't it? Save the world, bankrupt your neighbor. Hey, I can't make this stuff up. I don't sit up at night and just decide I'm going to type these up. Not happening. And welcome to, what was it, yesterday? Yes, yesterday. There it is. Georgia. I don't get this. There they are, the voting machines, the questions. Have you watched? I gotta add. You gotta look at me for this one. Have you watched 2,000 Mules? D'Souza, keep digging, buddy. I think you're gonna be unhappy at the bottom of the hole, the rabbit hole. And this right there, the machines, every little nook and cranny community in America somehow got the budget to buy these voting machines. I know we did in our little township. Didn't like it. And wait a minute, a state statute, I don't know if it's been rewritten. I got to go check that out. Next show, maybe. I was under the impression that every voting or polling place had to have an equal amount of printed ballots as they do voters. And I can't tell you where and when I found that out, but that's sticking in the back of my craw. Yeah. Anyway, which we let me just transition over to this. Trump's big defeat, election denial backfiring. I'm going to say, I'll make this prediction or this perception. If we believe that there's only one God, whomever that may be, across every religion, there's always this one supreme being. Is there a supreme being in politics? Do you have deities in politics? I'm going to throw it out there that yes, we do, and they're false gods, false deities, interchangeable words. My editorial commentary. Is Trump the savior of America? From Hell's Gate I spit at thee. No, he's not. One man, not perfect. And as many people say, I'd take a few nasty tweets at midnight for $2 a gallon gas. Probably true. Except to those that want to be a deity, the savior. But maybe they don't know how to do it. And their actions speak louder than words. Everybody can say, oh, we're here to save America, build back better, make America great again. Great for selling hats. But $6.50 a gallon for gas, $7.50 a gallon for diesel. And most families now don't have a pot to piss in. You read a story today, earlier today, where they're predicting about 72% of American homes will be underinsured within 6 months. And it's probably already there in certain parts of the country. I know in Arizona, California, where people, their head just pops open, are getting 500 times the real value of a piece of property on a home. I'm going to guarantee you the insurance policy hasn't kept up with that inflation. But anyway, here, Donald Trump, there are people hanging their ultimate hopes and dreams on one guy thinking he's going to rerun for president. It ain't going to happen, because if you don't understand, you can look at the political avenue They left Donald Trump out to dry. They hung him out to dry. The 2000 Mule movie proves it. Talking to Congress people, they had this information at the election time. Chose not to do anything. What was it, 2016? Matter of fact, I haven't put it back up there behind me. Rhino season's open. There are not two political parties anymore. There's a few individuals who understand this little book called the Constitution and continue to act upon it like they should. Damn the torpedoes about this conservative Republican Party is going to be this. That's as bad of a deity as saying Donald Trump is the savior of America. Not true. Sorry, Don. Give me a call, 855-490-2300. Hey, we'll talk it out. You did great in your term, but I get it. The swamp is big, buddy. And if people don't understand that the swamp is the swamp, you can't keep electing Republicans just because they hang their name on an R. It doesn't mean doodly squat. If you're not willing to stand up, talk to your constituents, find out where the values are within your district or your community. One guy in D.C. ain't going to fix it. Ain't happening. 62 guys in D.C. ain't going to fix it. We, the people, have to fix it. We, the people. Find a patriot, figure out why you think that's a patriot, and start a conversation. Former President, I'll read you the story or part of it. Former President Donald Trump's crusade for vengeance. Love how the AP runs this out. Crusade for vengeance, underlined in the article, suffered two devastating blows after Georgia Governor Brian Kemp and Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger won their primaries Tuesday despite rejecting Trump's entreaties to reverse his 2020 election. It's a huge warning sign for the way Republican voters view the former president's crusade to punish those who were not willing to overturn the will of the voters in 2020. Number one, you got to believe that the will of the voters was not represented in that election. Number two, you have to understand, find out, seek, and find the reasons why that wasn't a correct vote count. All these things that happen, just an anecdote here, all the things that happen as a first-time incident, when's the last time votes stopped being counted because of a clock position? Never. When's the last time a pope decided to resign and bring in somebody new? Never, other than Pope Francis. Why are these first issue incidences more important to the freedom and the position of America for we the people? If you don't put two and two together, what do they say? Follow the bouncing ball, connect the dots, all this stuff. It's all related. Voters also, this is hair-raising. Voters also demonstrated an openness to embracing scandal-plagued candidates, depending upon the candidate and the scandal. What has become morally acceptable, as in judges, convictions, penalties in society? Here are some takeaways from Tuesday's primary elections in Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas, and Minnesota. Trump had hoped to turn Georgia Governor Brian Kemp into an example of the danger of defying him. A self-proclaimed deity. Wrong. I didn't swear, but I'll give you a quarter. Welcome to my conversation about where deities in public and public offices Do you think Pelosi doesn't consider herself to be a deity? She's above the Catholic rules of religion because she continues to get sacraments. Thinks she should get it, even though she doesn't. She doesn't believe in the death penalty, but she also can't rationalize killing a kid. Kemp crusaded for former Senator David Perdue in the Republican primary. Who helped overturn the election by declaring Trump the winner in Georgia instead of Joe Biden, who actually won. The press will never admit to wrongdoing in the election. Which, okay, it is what it is. Leave it to us, private indies, do it. And I got to get this out of here. Oh, we'll put that right up there. There you go. Now Kemp will face Democrat Stacey Abrams in a rematch of their 2018 gubernatorial clash. Unlike Trump in 2020, Perdue accepted his defeat Tuesday night, even seeming to brush aside some supporters who took up a chant suggesting there was fraud. Let's see. Fraud, there's not rampant fraud in the elections, they say. Rampant? Wait a minute. 2,000 mules. Is that rampant in a national election? I'm just saying. I'm sorry, but what we're going to do now is make sure Stacey Abrams is not governor of the state, Perdue said. Obviously, it's the worst state in the union to live in. I'm telling you that Trump is playing a dangerous game because at some point, if he doesn't stay hidden, as it were, I don't know, let me see if this works. I got something to do here. No, it doesn't. I don't know what happened there. If he doesn't kind of sort of stay out of the meddling and stirring the pot, I don't think it's going to bode well for him in the afterlife. I mean, of his living afterlife. Georgia underscores one of Trump's biggest problems when he runs again. Brendan Buck, a former spokesman for the one-time House Speaker Paul Ryan, another rhino, tweeted Tuesday. He, of course, won't be able to let go of the 2020 nonsense, and nobody wants to hear his whining about it anymore. That's right. Just brush it under the rug. He can whine all he wants, but when people like D'Souza come up with 2,000 mules and present it very cognitively, I got to say, maybe his griping is in order, because what's going on now, the only way you can build back better is if you destroy something and then rebuild it. And if you can't see that that's what's going on right here, right now, versus making America great again, there are two different sides of a coin there. It gets frustrating reading this shit. Whoa, there it is. A couple more. But multiple Republicans have made it clear they're eyeing a 2024 presidential bid, including Pence, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and they have distanced themselves in ways large and small from Trump's election allegations. Elections are usually about the future. By the time 2024 GOP primary rolls around, November 2020 will be ancient history. Live and forget. That's what exactly the press wants every American to do. I beg to differ. Excuse me. You can forgive things, but never forget them. And I think that's something Donald Trump may not understand. You can forgive it, but I don't know if you can if this is going on. I don't know if you just never forget it, but it doesn't have to be your rallying cry. Former football coach great Herschel Walker, Trump's pick for U.S. Senate in Georgia, dominated his Republican challengers. Party leaders had first shied away from him because of his checkered history. Well, welcome that opening statement about voters are willing to forgive and forget and embrace scandal-plagued campaigns and candidates. Walker, in his autobiography, admits struggling with mental illness. I got to ask the question. We talk about all the lack of morality, senseless mental illness running around America, and all you got to do is go to Texas the other day. There's mental stability at question. Now, if people have addressed I just don't know where this lies. I have my questions about it. His ex-wife said that during their marriage, he held a gun to her head and threatened to kill her. He claimed to have founded a chicken processing company employing hundreds, but reported only 8 workers when applying for a loan during the coronavirus pandemic. He lied about founding a charity to help veterans get aid with mental health. That says to me, I'm thinking I don't want that person anywhere near a governing body. Campaigns will try to get him elected on his football days. Kudos. There's a great athlete there. Probably not a great politician given post-athletic failures within America. We don't like to talk about sex, drugs, rock and roll, or the afterlife of elected deities. That wasn't an elected. Well, it was. He was elected. Put the pieces together. You get what I'm saying. And he admits that he's had struggling times with mental illness. Eventually, Republican Senate leader Mitch McConnell, another rhino, ended up embracing Walker as the party's best chance to oust Democrat Raphael Warnock. The bet is that voters won't care as much about scandals in post-Trump America. There you go. Anything to beat out a political party member. What am I missing here? And here it is. This is apparently what the voters and politicians are saying. Just don't worry about it. Nobody cares. He's okay now today. I'm just not there. But I'm gonna, which leads us to the oh God, the list goes on and on. Here we go. Is the Bush dynasty done, or is he a nephew? I think he is of GW. Get elected to office simply because of his name? I don't get it. I do get it. And here you go. It's Texas Republican Attorney General Ken Paxton was indicted in 2015 on securities fraud charges and is still awaiting trial. Now, welcome to problem number one. 2016? 2015? Yeah, 2015. What year is it? 2022. And how is it that he gets a skate from 15 to 22. Still not, and I don't know, he's on the docket. Now, I'll give you that he's been a pretty good attorney general. But I'm going to say that this is a little obscene in our structure of America. He's still under investigation for corruption by the FBI and by the state of Texas, Bar of Texas, for his role in trying to overturn 2020 presidential election. So, there may or may not be validity there. Yet he easily won his primary against Land Commissioner George P. Bush, powered by his ability to use his office to cater to conservative causes, for example, investigating parents of transgender children. Now, the power of his office has nothing to do with challenging those people. That's a whole nother show. Back in Georgia, firebrand Marjorie Taylor Greene won a Republican primary, shrugging off challengers who complained Greene was giving the party a bad name by engaging in Holocaust denial and other headline-grabbing bombastic behavior. Trump set the model in 2016, and his followers are perfecting it. Never let a scandal get in the way of winning an election. Never let a tragedy go to waste is the Democratic cry. Hence, my constant position that there is only one political party, and it's those who get elected and want to get reelected. That's not what our forefathers said. Leave your fields, leave your plows, go to D.C., govern, and go back to the fields. Oh, would that be term limits? And here we go with that word again. I hate it. Progressive. Jessica Cisneros and centrist Republican Henry Cellular, one of the last abortion rights opponents in the Democratic caucus. It was too early to call on Wednesday because they all went home to find some more ballots. I'll come back in the morning and finish counting. God, they've gone into this left versus right campaign. Every one of them, every elected official in D.C. It is a right versus left. Oh, we reached out across the aisle. There shouldn't be no aisle, but they set them that way too. Have you ever looked? The left's on the left and the right's on the right. I am sorry. That is not what my America is about. And about, what was it? A month or so ago, we took off to find my America. Went down to many Midwest states, right down the center of the country. Ended up over in Arizona. I was looking for my America. I'm telling you, it ain't there. People who are normally happy, jovial, willing to shake your hand, want to do a fist bump or an elbow bump. Even waitresses in great cafes, almost stoic. Where's the happy-go-lucky? I mean, I get it. I understand some of the times. I guess I do understand the times. But Americans don't know how to fix this. They don't. As a general, average American, just trying to take care of their kids, raise their kids and their grandkids, get them off to college, do a little better for them than what they had. It's almost disgusting that we've crawled into a clamshell personally, and if it's just this onslaught of diversions from holding people, and I say people, elected officials, wannabe elected officials, preventing them from getting their way. That we don't know how to do it anymore. We don't have the time. We think we don't have the time, but time is running out. It's a clock. It's running. Whether you know it or not, it's the day of reckoning is pretty close. The latest report, And what, 2 months, 3 months ago, I did a story on tribes of monkeys in Africa, hundreds, if not thousands of miles from civilization, having leprosy. You don't get leprosy unless it's transmitted by a human. But they got it. And there were 3 groups that were 600 miles apart from each other. No interaction whatsoever that anyone could think of or find. And yet they had leprosy. And I can dig up the photos of the wasn't great apes, but it was apes with leprosy. And I don't know, but I'll find out. The latest diversion, monkeypox. Moneypox is actually what it is. And guess who is subject to scrutiny? The Wuhan labs, yet again. The monkeypox outbreak currently springing up in countries. And hang on, I got to get a picture up here for you. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Oh, that's by date. It'll be close enough. Let me bring this up a little bit. There you go. That'll be better. The monkeypox outbreak is currently springing up in countries around the world. Appears to originate from a lab or laboratory strain. A source at the European Center for Disease Control reportedly revealed. Independent investigator Dr. Benjamin Braddock claimed on Twitter that an unnamed source at the ECDC told him that preliminary analysis of the moneypox, that's my term, found the virus came from a lab and may be related to the U.S. biological research in Ukraine. Ha! And you're going to say, Ukraine, we don't have biological labs over there. Well, ask Dr. Fujiyama. We did a story on that when it first came out, when Ukraine first came under attack. We had maps of every biological laboratory in the Ukraine where the U.S. had an interest in either funding or cleaning up in the country. Surprise, surprise. I got told I'm a wacko conspiracy theorist. Not. It's true. And you often, if you put the pieces together, why Putin was slow in his acquisition of reacquisition of Ukraine, you got to know that if he didn't know what biological items were in those labs, you're just not going to go in and start bombing, because the trade winds will take care of the rest of the world. Here you go. EDC source tells me the preliminary analysis of the moneypox indicates that it's a third lab strain with unknown characteristics, and that there is chatter about this being somehow related to Moscow's charges against the U.S. biological activities in Ukraine. Braddock tweeted the other day. And let me show you a map, some stats right here. There's some stats. This is confirmed cases by date. And if you look right here, where are we? Germany, United States. Purple right here on the bottom. United States. Burgundy. I'm not seeing too many burgundy jobs here. And the sources tell me that the preliminary analysis of the moneypox indicates it's third world strain, unknown characteristics. Additionally, the Russian-Chinese Joint Task Force has reportedly launched an investigation into where it originated, whether it's detectable in research conducted by the U.S. in Ukraine, Georgia, whether there is a link to biological research conducted by the U.S. on smallpox in the Ukraine. Interesting, connect the dots here. In the face of rising moneypox cases in the U.S. and Europe, The ECDC source reportedly claims that the agency is intent on purchasing smallpox vaccines from a biotech company, Bavarian Nordic, even though they haven't been tested on this particular strain of monkeypox. Main ECDC focus right now is on buying up as much of BN's vaccine as possible before they know whether it is effective against a strain of monkeypox. I keep calling it monkeypox because it is what it is. Now, this is diversion number XYZ. Oh, woe is me. The sky is falling. Wait, we have baby formula? Wait a minute. No, it's down on the Mexican border. There's no lack of baby formula down there. Per cat, who went down there and sent back pictures and did a report the other day. The main ECDC focus right now is on buying as much as blah, blah. That was his tweet. Shortly after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the World Health Organization warned Ukrainian authorities to destroy any high-threat pathogens being researched in biolabs to prevent any potential spills into the public. What did I just say? The WHO is knocking on the door, telling them, if you got something going on there in the back room of the lab, any of your labs over there, you better contain them, get rid of them, put them in isolation or whatever you got to do, because if Mr. Putin decides to come in full force, it's going to get loose. Today, we presented an analysis of which pathogens the U.S. was particularly interested in. Irana Yurakovoya, co-chair of the committee, told reporters Friday, aside from the pathogens that are territorially bound to Ukraine, research for viruses and pathogens are endemically very far from Ukraine, such as Ebola and smallpox. Why? This is just some food for thought. Why are labs putzing with smallpox virus? Prior to this recent outbreaks, monkeypox cases were only documented in Central and West African countries, baffling experts over the monkeypox cases quickly popping up in North America and Europe in recent weeks. Now, this is by country. Switzerland, is that it? United Kingdom, the UK, right over. Whoops, sorry, I got to go back over to the other screen. This right here is the United Kingdom. We got Spain, Portugal. Who's brown? Netherlands. Looks like Italy, 2, 4, 14. Not a whole lot of cases, which is fine. But I'm going to say, now this is by confirmed cases by date. And if you have, this is confirmed, what is this? Confirmed monkeypox by country. There are no sources. They don't know where it came from. Argentina. The U.S. has 6 at the moment. The U.K. has 57. Spain, 41. Portugal, 36. I'm assuming it's World Health Organization that this source is coming from. And monkeypox cumulative confirmed cases by date of confirmation. As of May 6th through May 23rd, which was what? A couple days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago. Global Health Team. And there's, down here is the email address if you want to go double check these figures. The monkeypox was pretty close to 0 until it hit right around here, what is it, 14th, maybe the 20th of the month, and then increased to 160 cases worldwide. We were at 60 cases in the UK. Just an FYI. I'm stunned by this. Every day I wake up and there are more countries infected, said Oyewale a virologist who formerly headed the Nigerian Academy of Science, who sits on several WHO advisory boards. This is not the kind of spread we've seen in West Africa, so there may be something new happening in the West. Oh, something new. Yeah, something blue. Something infected. Curiously, the U.S. Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, BARDA, recently purchased, get this, are you ready? 13 million doses of Bavarian Nordic's Gianco smallpox monkeypox vaccine. 13 million doses. Does that sound like, well, I guess I got to say that it's preemptive in nature, being prepared. At the same time, I'm also going to say, what do they know that we don't know? We the people. Did something get out of the Ukrainian biolabs? Were they testing the introduction of monkeypox into societies? The vulnerable societies, the least able to care for themselves at a level that the World Health Organization might be able to care for? This is, quote unquote, the most recent BARDA purchase of smallpox vaccine was part of a standard and ongoing preparedness effort to unrelated to specific events. This was via an Axios investigative inquiry. I'm going to tell you right now. Notably, there have been no natural occurring cases of smallpox in the U.S. since the virus was eradicated in 1980. Why would the U.S. government feel compelled to buy shipment of smallpox, moneypox vaccine, especially right now? Are they preparing for something because they know something, or is this plausible deniability? Right there, coming off the wires. I can't answer that question, but I'm sure going to ask it. And I think you should too. You should be very aware of what's going on, the little ditties that are going on. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to tell you. I don't tell you anything. I'm going to suggest that nobody in the MSNBC, CBS, ABC, NBC newsrooms anywhere, even the Fox. I don't know that Fox is going to pick that up. Fox News, supposedly the place to get their news from. Maybe BBC might. I don't know. But the standard news organizations will not talk about this. And you want to know why? Fear. You're sitting with fear on coronavirus. It's embedded in the average citizen's mind and life. And you already know how divided we are as a country on that. Poke, don't poke. It doesn't matter to me what you do. Do what you want to do. That is the freedom of choice. I don't need you throwing it up in my face. Whatever you did, one way or the other. I do what I do. My family does what they do. My neighbors do what they do. Hopefully it's all good. If it's good for you, it's good for you. May not be good for me. But it's like the gun industry. And on a close, I got to get to this because it's because of patriots who have the balls to stand up and be patriots, do what's good for the country via the Constitution. Oh, I forgot to mention on that Bush story. I guess ISIS had been planning or plotting to kill GW or something like that, and I guess the FBI, and I don't know if it's the female body inspectors or the FBI, the legal police force that actually did it. I'm not sure. But thank God it got stopped. We don't have nobody being killed, especially by some wackos. But the Wisconsin Supreme Court, let's take it a little closer to home. We're close to Lake Wisheyebegone, state of Wisconsin. And people ask me, why do you call it Lake Wisheyebegone? Well, if you know anything about Lake Wobegon, everything is great over there. That's west of here by about 500 miles. And everything's great. Kids are thriving. Parents are just jovial. There's always a smile on everybody's face. But here at Lake Wisheyebegone, things ain't going so good. And I'm sure you have a local Lake Wisheyebegone. You might want to start talking to your neighbors, figuring out how to take care of things on the local level. But anyway, the Wisconsin Supreme Court had been, let me rephrase that. Wisconsin Carry Incorporated is a nonprofit organization dedicated to the preservation and reclamation of basic human rights critical to a free society. Oh, what's that? A free society. Our organization believes in the founding principles of our country and our Constitution. Oh, what's that? The Constitution. Just more suggestions. The Second Amendment of our federal Constitution explicitly affirms one of the limitless numbers of rights we enjoy as human beings, the right to keep and bear arms. As a little sidebar, did you know that the Second Amendment, as it sits today, was not originally the Second Amendment. It was the Fourth Amendment. But due to the long and arduous process of creating the Constitution, our forefathers thought that it was more imperative and should be placed right next to the freedom of speech. So hence it went from 4 to number 2. Most people don't know that. We're here to tell you the truth. We believe that open carry and concealed carry are choices to be made by law-abiding citizens based on what suits their needs best. Our mission is to preserve, advance, and expand these basic rights using all of the above approach that includes education, civil litigation, media/public relations, outreach, and grassroots legislative activism. 5/20/22, press release. After a liberal Washington, D.C. insider, the Perkins Coie attorney, Josh Kaul, was elected Attorney General of Wisconsin, Wisconsin Carry began receiving contact from individuals who had concealed carry licenses revoked. I will never say I did or didn't have that happen to me. These individuals held valid CCLs for years and hadn't had law enforcement contact since prior to obtaining their license. Upon investigation, WCI, that would be Wisconsin Concealed Carry, attorneys included AG Kaul's DOJ was re-examining CCL applications and unlawfully revoking concealed carry licenses. One such case, Daniel Dubeck in 1993, Dubeck was charged with and convicted of disorderly conduct after an argument with his wife. I guess what was wrong with him? Why would he argue with his wife? His wife is always going to win. Humor. Yeah, anyway. Let's see. Dubeck later passed a background check that obtained his concealed carry license in Wisconsin. In 2018, Perkins Coie attorney and Washington, D.C. insider Josh Kaul narrowly defeated pro-Constitution Brad Schimmel, who became Attorney General. In 2019, the DOJ began to audit an audit of CCL holders and revoked Dubeck's concealed carry license based on the 1993 conviction. It probably was an admission of guilt that he, argued with her. Whatever. Mr. Dubeck contacted Wisconsin Carry, and WCI funded an appeal of the revocation all the way to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Oral oral arguments took place in December of 2021, and today we are pleased to announce that the Wisconsin Supreme Court unanimously ruled that Dubek's revocation was unlawful. Oh, yeah! In Wisconsin, a felony conviction prohibits a person from owning or possessing a firearm. The federal Lautenberg Amendment also deems a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence, prohibits a person from owning or possessing firearms. The Lautenberg Amendment, however, defines what statutes meet the definition of MCDV. That's misdemeanors. The Wisconsin Supreme Court unanimously, I'm having trouble talking today, unanimously ruled Wisconsin disorderly conduct statute is overly broad, invisible, and includes elements that did not meet the federal Lautenberg Amendment standard. For this reason, a disorderly conduct conviction can never constitute a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence in Wisconsin. Other misdemeanor crimes could be, but not disorderly conduct. Wisconsin Carry believes hundreds, perhaps thousands of people may have been unlawfully denied a concealed carry license. It's a permit. It's a coffer. May have had a CCL unlawfully revoked or may have been unlawfully denied a firearm purchase by Josh Call's Department of Justice. Wisconsin Carry would like to thank our dues-paying members whose financial support allows us to undertake this litigation in Wisconsin. This is Wisconsin Carry's second victory at the Supreme Court level. In 2017, Wisconsin Carry sued the city of Madison for prohibiting lawful carry on Madison Metro Transit buses. The Wisconsin Supreme Court ruled in our favor. If you are denied a firearm purchase or concealed carry license because of a disorderly conduct conviction, please reach out to Wisconsin Carry President Nick Clark at wisconsincarry.org. Stay free and carry on. Did you get that? I don't have it as a graphic, but if you don't have it, send me. God, why is this interjecting in the middle of this? If you didn't get that, I'll say it again. Nick, N-I-K, at wisconsincarry.org. If you don't get that or don't remember it, send it to news@thejustjimshow.com. I will re-forward that email address and his name and his organization. That is a great hurrah for freedom-loving Americans, and I got to say that in the scheme of life, we all make mistakes. Sometimes we need a second chance. Third, I don't know. But that's good news for freedom-loving Americans and Wisconsinites. And with that, I got to close for today. I went long today, hour and a half. Wow, that's okay. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. It's possible I'm going to be going to 2 days a week. I'm not sure. Haven't made that decision yet. I have tons going on here at the bunker. Stuff I have to do. I have to get done. So for now, I probably will stay with 1 day a week. But I'll let you know in advance if I go 2 days a week. Hey, don't forget, like and subscribe. It's the only way we keep on the air. I'm telling you, look at the mess. The bunker's a mess. But guess what? We get the show done. I love it to death. And I always say this as a closer, pretty much always. In the scheme of things, there's a lot of crap going on. That's not a swear word. I'll give you a quarter, couple pennies. And if you don't know anything about my little buzzer here when I swear, it's kind of like some people have the swear jar. I have a swear buzzer. I keep track of how many times I swear in a show, because at times I swear like a drunken sailor. I get emotional about stuff. That's me. And at the end, sometime during the year, I give the money I get here from the swear jar to a nonprofit or someone that I observe in the middle of the day. It doesn't matter when or where it is. If I just see something, because I'm a constant observer of life, I just pull money out of my pocket and I pay a bill for somebody. I pay it forward. So the money I piss away here on the show, I always try to do good. This last year we donated to Toys for Tots Christmas organization locally. And I like local stuff because that's where the money does the most good. I do give my donations to whomever, whatever. A couple times I saw a young couple the other day. Gorgeous little baby. Couldn't have been a couple months old. Chose to pay their food bill at a restaurant. So what? Someday, I hope, in this tough day and age, it was good that they were out having a relationship. A male and a female, a mom and a dad, and a baby, a family. Not a he, she, it. What is it? and you never know. You guys should get in that habit too. If you can afford it, pay it forward a little bit. It helps somebody tomorrow. Maybe somebody will just take that and move it on down the road. And with that, I have to say goodbye for the week. See you next week, next show. Hope you enjoyed it. Hoping I open your eyes to a few things. But ultimately, be good to each other. Agree to disagree going in. If you can do that, you can have a conversation. And from conversations comes results. Maybe not be the one you want at the moment, but you can try and find middle ground somewhere. There are some things you can't find middle ground on, and that's okay because you believe in it. But be good to each other because when it's all said and done, that's all we got. Not much else to say. And I don't know if this is going to play with audio or not. So with that, I got to say goodbye. Adieu. God bless. Be good to each other.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a defender. So God made a patriot. God said, I need somebody willing to sacrifice everything, his fortune, his sacred honor, even his life, for liberty and something called inalienable rights that he cannot see but knows he cannot live without. So God made a patriot. God said, I need somebody willing to ride a horse through sleepy towns in the dark of night, sounding the alarm, entreating neighbors to take up arms against an overwhelming force of wicked tyranny. So God made a patriot. God said, I need someone who, even after crushing defeats, rises up and stands tall. Someone who hears the clarion call that these are the times that try men's souls and does not shrink from the trial. Someone who will cross a frozen river in the dead of winter, when all logic and reason says turn back, abandon hope. So God made a patriot. Then God said, I need a man who knows of the rise and fall of great nations, who knows of human nature and the corrupting influence of power and the fragility of liberty. I need this man, along with his like-minded brethren, to write an enduring constitution. So God made a patriot. God said, I need a person, one person, who's willing to do whatever it takes, even write a book to confront injustice and spark a movement that would tear apart a people so that chains will rightfully be shattered and a blessed union eventually emerge. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who, with the love of family and for the love of country, will cross a vast ocean and storm a heavily fortified beach. And, if he survives, charge through 200 yards of bullets and blood across that merciless beach. And if he survives, scale the towering cliffs. And if he survives, begin the long march to free a continent. And if he survives, return home and, with the same resolute determination, rebuild a nation, and someday be called the greatest generation. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who will, without thought of self, invest in schools and scouts and church and community, so that the proposition that all men are created equal remains a beacon to enlighten the world, and that such a beacon shall not perish from the earth. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who will have the courage to not give up her seat on a bus and thus force a nation to confront its deepest divisions and heal the wounds and pursue the dream that inspires all hearts. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone strong enough to stand against any enemy, foreign or domestic, that would try to steal the freedom so dearly defended, the rights so righteously upheld, yet gentle enough to help a small child carry a star-spangled flag in a hometown parade. So God made a patriot. Then God said, I need a man who will speak the truth to his own leaders, that in order to preserve our great nation, we will not sacrifice the well-being of future generations for the sake of our own. Someone who will tirelessly toil day upon night, no matter the setback, no thought of surrender. Someone who will prayerfully rise every morning to climb the wall as a defender, duly endowed with the honored gift of generations before, while offering a solemn promise to generations ahead. A defender who will ensure that the way of truth and the torch of liberty remain forever lit in this shining city on a hill. So God made a patriot.